Hello, and today we're going to be reviewing the LionChief Polar Express Set. Now, before we begin, I just want to say, if this is your first time ever watching a LionChief Polar Express review, I'm very surprised because there are probably thousands of videos out there of this set. But this one is a kind of a one-of-one set, not because I have a bunch of add-on cars, even though they make more. Because there's a few custom features on this locomotive that you wouldn't tell right now. And some things that are broke. Psst. The whistle's missing because they're really cheap. Anyways, so yeah, if you want, basically the book started out, I've been told 1985, but I don't actually know when it officially started. Then the movie was made in 2004, I believe. Or 2004. And yeah, Lionel released this engine the exact same way. Without LionChief, it had a whistling tender that sounds like any other whistling tender, just woo woo. And you could also get a rail sounds tender for it. However, they released it with handrails. However, when they made it into LionChief, they removed the handrails. And now if you get the LionChief Plus 2.0 engine of this, then they have the handrails because it's TMCC controlled. And anything TMCC or Legacy, the antennas for steam locomotives are usually the handrails. So, yeah. This locomotive is powered by one large flywheel motor. It is mounted upright, not long ways in the firebox. It is semi-scaled Berkshire. If you took something like the American Flyer Lionel Berkshire, that's just the S-gauge Polar Express, for instance. Number one, it sounds pretty much the same. Number two, it runs pretty much the same. And number three, this Berkshire, because it's semi-scaled to fit, sharp curves, like my inner track 031. Right now it's on my 042. Yeah, the engines are the exact same length, and I'm pretty sure for the tender. Everything about the S-gauge Berkshire is pretty much to scale, except there's no whistle. But hey, you need to do it to make curves, alright? I've never ran or seen a scale Berkshire, I think. Well, running. I've seen them in stores. That's it. But anyways, this locomotive is, as we know, LionChief. It comes with a LionChief remote. Just let me go get it real quick. Comes with this LionChief remote. Now, this is the older one. As you can see, it just says the Polar Express, and it's got the trademark logo and the number, which is 1225. Got a big Lionel logo. It's not blue like the other ones. Hey, it's so easy to drive. Whistle, crew talk, or announcements like all aboard and bell. And then, to go forward, you turn this, and that's reverse, and turn it on right there. It does not come with Velcro on the back. This is just because it's an easy way for me to store my remote. Anyways, this locomotive does have a like all LionChief Plus, LionChief Plus 2.0, and American Flyer Chief, because American Flyer is not owned by Lionel. It can be run on any power source, AC or DC. It can be run on any system, such as DCC, DCS, Legacy, conventional. Why? Because, of course, the biggest thing here is that it's radio frequency controlled directly to the engine. All it needs is power applied to the track, typically 11 to 18 volts. If you have a transformer, turn it to full blast. It'll give you the most power out of this engine. I use one of the old ZWs because my layout's good for that ZW. I have circuit breakers on there now, so my really expensive engine, like the Big Boy, the Challenger, 280, and other expensive engines don't fry out like the Challenger did once. I've dried out this board 2 times. I've dropped it twice because I've had this engine for, 5 years? Yeah, because soon to be 6, but because I have 4 Legacy and Team CC engines. Nickel Plate 280, Centennial 2000, which is Team CC, Nickel Plate's 28. The 280 is Legacy. Challenger's Team CC, and then the Big Boy, which is Legacy. So it's been 4 years, and I remember right before I got the nickel plate, the year before, I got this thing. And it's pretty reliable. Now the shell is die-cast, the tender is plastic, but, I mean, the bell is it's not controlled like Vision Line, but it does swing. If you control, like, maybe a skinnier wire than this to it, you could do it like this Santa Fe, the Legacy Santa Fe Northerns, and you could time it right with the bell sounds. Ding, gong, ding, gong, ding, gong, ding, gong. But yeah, because these things were made with so many add-on cars, they couldn't just sell an engine to haul the 3 main cars. You needed to sell an engine that can pull all of the add-on cars. So chances are they're not going to come up with any more add-on cars except for, like collector items like the box cars and whatnot. The reason is because, number one, they've gone through everything. Like, there's the baggage car you see behind the tender. They made a mail car, which is, it says that thing, but it says letters to Santa. Like, they're running out of ideas. However, there's a diner car, which wasn't in the movie. The puppet car, which is in my train, the second car, that was in the movie. There's a hot chocolate car, which it wasn't specific to hot chocolate, but it was a scene in the movie, so that counts. There's a car that has the conductor hanging out of it, holding a lantern, which was in the scene. There's the normal passenger car. There's a car with the disappearing hobo. In the supposed G-gauge set, even though it's bigger than G-gauge, but the engine's smaller. The hobo disappears on the observation car, just like how he did in the movie. But for some reason, they didn't do that on the observation car. So to make it as realistic as possible, I put that second to last car. The exact order on my train is locomotive, tender, baggage car, marionette car, or puppet car, whatever you want to call it. Diner car, hot chocolate car, regular passenger car, conductor car, disappearing hobo, and observation car. I'm thinking about maybe getting the combination car, but I don't know. And my dad would hate me because he's the one who gets mad at the mail car, but maybe the mail car and maybe the special Lionel cars, just as collector items. But yeah. So yeah, because they make so many add-on cars, these engines are pretty strong. Like, I've thrown pretty good amount of stuff at it. Even though the cars are toy-like, just like the engine, like, if you give this thing to a kid, you'll run it off the tracks. I've dropped it 3 times. I've short-circuited it because I'm an idiot, and you'd have to replace the board. But let's say you drop it off the table. It's like a 50-50 chance, but with something like an HO engine, like, the best HO engine is probably an Athearn Blue Box. But, even if you drop it off a table like mine, which I think is like 2.5 feet off the ground, I can't tell right now, but yeah, if you did that, it'd probably be toast. However, something like the old Lionel stuff, like my post-war and Hudson, that fell off the table now. It didn't work. The E-unit was broken, but I took the shell off, and all I did was literally just move the E-unit like a millimeter, and it worked. So it's weird. These things are pretty bulky, but they could still break like anything. But it's pretty good it's a really good engine. Like, I haven't used it in a while, but it's pretty reliable. Now, this engine comes with a pretty good amount of stuff. Should probably move on to what's in this locomotive, or what you get in the set itself. Now, before we get into this, I just want to say I did not buy my stuff in a set. Well, I actually got it as gifts, but as far as I know, I didn't get them as a separate set. They were all separate sailed. The engine and tender and the remote, I remember, all came in the 3 stack of just styrofoam boxes wrapped in Christmas paper. So obviously, you'll probably get some track and maybe a wall wart power supply if you get the new ones. If you got the old one, it probably came with the C40 transformer. You obviously get the engine and the remote control. You do need to supply the batteries. Then you get 3 passenger cars. Passenger cars is the marionette car. If you take a look inside, you will see through the windows the silhouettes of a bunch of puppets and marionettes from the old toys just sitting there, doing nothing. Soon to be recycled. And see, these cars, even though they're not to scale, they're pretty rugged. Like, I just banged on that pretty hard, and it's perfectly fine. Take the roof off. There's like little tabs in there, and if you just hold them down, it's pretty hard too, but yeah, if you do that, it'll slide right off. After that car, you get a regular passenger car. You look inside. It's just a bunch of kids going in there. Wow. What do I call a bad tripod? Jeez. Okay, we're back. But then the last card's the observation car. Although what's called the Lonely Boy, but in the movie his name is Billy. You could see it right there. Even though it's on the wrong side of the car, at least it's not the HO Polar Express where he's sitting at the front of the car. But yeah, if we go take a look, he's supposed to sit over here. And then the American Flyer one he does, and he also sits over there on the other side, but who cares? And probably in the new American Flyer ones and, you know, the new HO ones is probably fixed, but there he is. And then here's the deck. It looks pretty nice. Sorry, I don't have a light, but there's 2 windows and a door with a nice Polar Express logo, a jeweled red light. There will be a roof to this, but because I just had this recently worked on and it's such a pain to get it off, because you can't take the roof off until you get the roof of the deck back on. I don't know where the piece was. It was here somewhere, but the reason being is because there's like little tabs here, black tabs that sit right here, and you want to take the roof off, they're going to hit there and snap off, so yeah, you don't see it anyways, so I might just leave it bare. But hey, it's pretty nice. Yeah. Now we'll move on to add-on cars. Now, you don't have to get the add-on cars. It's just because, I don't know why. I just got add-on cars. Yeah. Okay, so as we saw with the last 2 cars, in fact, let me go get it. Well, there's usually like little gaps right in there for doors, and you know, there's a little balcony in between the cars here. But for some reason, the baggage car, which makes sense, doesn't have them. And anyways, it's just a baggage car. It's a Polar Express scheme. Can't really see it well, but on all the cars it says Polar Express right there. That's because I have bad lighting on this side of the table, and I'm not setting up my super tall tripod. Thing's a pain. It takes like 5 minutes because it's so old and to stretch it out and everything. But yeah, this one made me a little weird on why it didn't have the balconies at the end of the cars with the doors. But hey, I could see it. It's a diner car, but hey. Yeah, it's got, instead of only hot chocolate, if you look, there's a few other items in there. It's got these cool, like, arch windows. And it's also got 3 tops on here. I'm guessing they're supposed to be smokestacks, but hey, And another bad tripod. I'm kidding, the tripod's not bad. It's just because I'm hitting the cars. Alright, so, I guess I'm just gonna have to take the cars off as I pull them along. It's the only thing I can do, really. Sorry, but hey, it's what you gotta do when you didn't measure your tracks for your cameras. Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot they're taped together. Yeah, so that's a problem, just like any old O-gauge couplers. You may want to put rubber bands on them to stop them from uncoupling, but I did that, so I just taped a few of them together. Anyways, next to the diner car in my set, we have the hot chocolate car. It makes sense, diner, hot chocolate, whatever. You can see there's hot chocolate in there with open seats for where the kids would be eventually getting served it. Yeah, so that's what you get with those two cars. Well, you don't get, they're all separate. Okay, so anyways, yeah, here's the conductor car. I know he's facing backwards. He was facing the right way, but he was on the other side, so. And to make it easier, yeah, he's holding a lantern, and I had to get him replaced because I dropped this car. So, yeah, it's just a passenger car with the conductor hanging out. And there's a switch underneath it that says on and off, and that's for a sound system. Anyways, when we just turn on, hold on, turn on power here. There we go. It's a pretty bright light on camera, but trust me, it's not that bright. But you could certainly see it. It doesn't look that gold. It looks more yellow. Anyways, yeah, my lighting's off, but yeah. Then if you hit, I think it's the bell button, but because I have an old CW, it's the whistle. Or, you know, just like an activator car, you'll see, all aboard, this is Polar Express.
All aboard! This is the Polar Express! All aboard! This is the Polar Express!
So it's nice and awesome. One point to make is, I don't know if this was for everyone, but this car, like all the cars have these like little metal things, and when you're rubbing your hand off to clean the dust, they're quite annoying and they hurt. But for some reason, I don't know if this is just the conductor car in general or some year, doesn't have it, which I really like. It feels nice and smooth. And two, it doesn't have that here, because here's the slot in the hobo car for the hobo to pop up. Look at that. Now, he is facing backwards because this is the way the train is, because that's how he is actually in the movie. Well, it's on this car, but the kid approaches and he's facing backwards, which makes sense. You wouldn't want the snow blowing in your face. I had him down because he went under my bridge, but I'll leave him up. Yeah, as you can see here, that those things aren't there. It's really kind of... Here's the hobo car. It's only got these kids in it, but anyways. Here's the hobo car. As you can see here, sometimes he doesn't appear, and sometimes he does. And other times, he never comes out. So, what do I talk about is, here we go. We're just going to start it up, but it has no startup, really. Sounds may not go off, because, like I said, this is the custom board. But anyways, here we go. Let's just go right about now. There we go. No beeps. Let's just turn the remote on. It is sideways because the camera is like that. Anyways, here's your whistle button. Here's the bell. Here's the crew talk button. If you have the 10th anniversary, you'll have more crew talks. This one is a custom board, however, it has mixes of both, because we made it custom because the original one broke.
All aboard! This is the Polar Express! All aboard! This is the Polar Express!
And if we move it, Yills will have other sayings, like I'm the king of the North Pole, and one thing about trains. And, you know, the first gift of Christmas if you have the 10th anniversary. And while you're sitting here, well, you come in if you have the 10th anniversary as well. If we move it here, this is something from the 10th anniversary. And because this is a custom board, this is the only thing that shows up while it's moving. But it's tickets, please!
Tickets, please! Tickets, Ticket, please.
And, you know,
Ticket, ticket, please.
and yeah, it does not have speed control, cruise control, whatever you want to call it. It does not have it has operating couplers, but they are non-electro, they are standard. It does have a smoke unit. It is not fan driven. It is the old Puff. Unlike most of the newer ones, let's say you have the bell on, and you blow the whistle, stops the bell, and it comes back on. And I'll show you that right now. See, bell, on, and then whistle, then bell comes back on. Say we're doing an announcement, and we blow the whistle, it will completely stop it. So yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. Well, not really, but hey, it's a thing, it's a thing, it's a thing. And here's the chuff sound. It's pretty good, really. I like it. And if you have the conductor car, you could blow it at any time. It might have been pretty hard to hear because it's at the rear of the train. But if we had them right next to each other and you pressed it at the exact same time, they would go in sync. Here's the engine doing it.
All aboard! This is the Polar Express.
Now, obviously, the engine will have a more clear speaker, but hey, it's quite nice. So I'll try to do it in the sync.
All aboard!
I did.
This is the Polar Express.
Probably couldn't hear the conductor car over the engine, but hey, whatever. The best feature, in my opinion, of this locomotive is probably like, I mean, it's kind of with like every LionChief item. It's such basic control, like, it's pretty much dummy-proof, the control of this thing, except if you go too fast. However, this specific model doesn't go that fast. Well, it goes fast, but maybe if you're on 031 or something like 036, maybe it'll derail, but on something like 042, it does not derail at all. Like, it did one time because I threw the switch and it went straight into the buffer because I walked away. But hey, it's just called human error. Yeah, so I guess we'll just run it for a little bit. And yeah, I don't know the retail price. It's probably changed over the years, but hey, a quick note to make. I actually got my Polar Express cars, I think 1 year before I got the Polar Express engine. I got the 3 main cars, and I think maybe a few add-on cars later in that year when I got my post-war Hudson, my Hudson Junior, the 2055. And yeah, there's a video on my old camera where it hits it. And yeah, whatever. So yeah. Full speed.
come out
And that's the Polar Express in a nutshell. I walk away for 1 second. What are you doing? Is this the throwback to the big boy video?
Hi guys, thanks for watching. And if you love puppies, then you will subscribe.
Stop. She doesn't want to be here. That's basically it. Yeah, cut!